Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the intern, Ned Reynolds. It's Tuesday, and now we've got an NLCS and an ALCS. What's going on so far in the records?
Not to mention the NFL and the NHL.
Well, yeah. Well, let's just start with baseball right now, because that's a lot to unpack.
You've got to understand that acronyms rule the world.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, we had two games yesterday, and that both the New York teams won. The New York Mets won out in Los Angeles, and the Yankees won at Yankee Stadium in New York. The Mets game was 7-3, the Mets beating the Dodgers. I don't know where this kid came from, Mark Vientos. He is living the postseason dream, if there ever was one. He was on the roster to start the season, went back to the minor leagues, then got called up, went back to the minor leagues again, and then in May with an injury got called up, and he's been around for good. He absolutely murdered the Philadelphia Phillies in the playoffs. Hit home run after home run, kept the games close. And I said, who is this guy? So here we have now the second game of the National League playoffs, and indeed, here's Vientos living the dream again. How? Grand slam in the second inning. It put the Mets up by a score of 6-0. The Dodgers did rally, but the Mets win the game 7-3, and oh my goodness sake, now that sets up a 1-1 tiebreaker coming up tomorrow night, and they'll play at Citi Field in New York. Now, the Yankees beat the Guardians 5-2, and Carlos Rodon was the big story here. Only threw 6 innings, but he allowed 1 run and 3 hits. This is a guy the Mets have spent $102 million on. 9 strikeouts. He was really on the ball, and he's a good pitcher. Rodon can really throw hard, and he's very crafty. Got big hits, home runs from Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton, and another win for the New York Yankees 5-2. They will play again tonight at Yankee Stadium, and this time there will not be any interruptions. There was a football game last night just a few miles away across the river in New Jersey, but be that as it may, that's the way sports is in Gotham City.
And that player reminds me kind of Tommy Pham. You know, Tommy Pham during the regular season, and then all of a sudden in the postseason, the guy's just hitting the cover off the ball, doing crazy. It's crazy how players just kind of seem to shine in the postseason. But I don't know. What would you like to see this series end up becoming now that we got these 4 teams? What do you want to see?
Of the Final Four, I think the obvious choice would be the Yankees and the Dodgers.
That's what you want to see, or that's what you think's going to happen?
No, I don't really have a dog in the hunt.
Not anymore. Neither do I.
My club is out of it. But in terms of wanting to see, no, I think a Yankees-Dodgers series would be a very good one. Two well-matched teams.
I really have a bad feeling for Cleveland. I don't think they stand a chance against the Yankees, but we'll see. I might eat crow on that. I mean, if it could be Mets Guardians, that'd be something, but I doubt that's what we're going to see. One of baseball's future Hall of Famers is actually planning a comeback next year. What's his name, and where's he going to be?
I think it's fair to call Clayton Kershaw a future Hall of Famer. He has such a great career. 3 Cy Young Award wins and all that. Only made 7 starts this year. That's all he made. Injury problems. He didn't start the season until July. He didn't have the advantage of having a spring training with the Dodgers at all. But he says he wants to come back next year. Now, in pitching this year, the 7 starts that he had, he was very effective for about 3, 4, 5 innings, and Kershaw still has to build up his physical stamina, whether or not at his age, and he's not a kid. Whether or not he can do that remains to be seen. He is physically a well-built athlete, but he's also getting up there in years. But Kershaw wants to come back. We'll see whether or not the Dodgers will access to his demands, whatever they might be, or whether or not his contract is still in effect. That I don't know, but whatever. We may see him coming back in 2025.
Last but not least, you hate to see a player like Hutchinson go down in a game like he did over the weekend, and that looks gnarly. He's done for the rest of the year. Obviously.
He is done for this year, yes. He's going to be out for, the Detroit Lions said yesterday, from 4 to 6 months. He had a broken tibia and a broken fibula. Now, when you talk about breaks, one of them may have been a clean break. That part I don't know, but the other one obviously was not. But he had surgery yesterday to repair it. Doctor said he's going to be fine, but he will be incapacitated for that period of time. That's half a year. So at best, Hutchinson could be coming back for the start of fall camp in 2025. He's a valuable player for the Detroit Lions. He's the NFL sacks leader this year, and that's how he got injured, on a sack. He was in there making a tackle. This guy is tough. University of Michigan All-America. made the tackle, went down, and landed in an awkward position, and then player fell on top of him, and the rest is history. Hopefully he'll be fine.
Kind of reminded me what happened to Rice. So did the Jets win their Super Bowl against the Bills last night?
They did not. In fact, Mike, that was really a very lackluster football game at Giant Stadium. Interestingly enough, it was the second night game in 48 hours. The night before, Cincinnati and the New York Giants had played at that stadium, and then you have to think about all these teams, the Giants and Jets share the same stadium. They all have their own bunting, their own decorations that go around. That crew had to work there all night long, into Monday morning to get that ready for the Jets, and then the Jets go out and lose a game. The Buffalo Bills beat them 23-20. It was not a very exciting game. It was a penalty-fraught game. I mean, they were handkerchiefs being thrown all over the place, and the fans were not happy. I'm not even sure that was a full house at Giant Stadium either for that game last night. Of course, you have the playoff game with the Yankees, and they drew 47,000 for their game. So the fact remains that Buffalo comes down to New York City and wins the game 23-20. Not a very exciting one. And hey, it is what it is. But the Jets are really struggling, and we'll see whether or not they can continue.
You think it was the right call getting rid of their coach?
No, I do not. But that's a private opinion, and I wonder what the real reasoning. It couldn't have been the record because they were 2-3 when they let him go, and this is a team that's still struggling to get along. Maybe the QB, Aaron Rodgers, had something to do with it. I don't know. I heard another factor, but I don't want to get into that because that hasn't been revealed as being substantial. But be that as it may, no, a new coach, I don't think that was necessary.
And based on what I'm seeing as far as the numbers Rodgers put up, it's not like he had anything super magical last night, did he?
No, he has no line in front of him at all. He's under siege back there, and he's not a pleasant person to be around when he's losing.
No, I don't think he's a pleasant person to be around any time, to be honest with you. But hey, they kept it to 3 points, so it's not like it's the ship's going down by any means. And the Bills are good, so we'll see what happens down the road for those guys. The fabric-based roof that we watched in all the videos after those hurricanes went through Tampa is definitely damaged. Are they going to go back with the fabric, or are they going to do something a little bit more high-tech, like the sliding kind of weird, super age moving thing? Or like SoCal, you know what I mean? Those open new age parks. Are they going to do something like that?
I think the question is, what will they do, and do they need to do it?
True.
First of all, the roof that they had was fabric. You're absolutely right. It was not a removable roof. This is Tropicana Field, where the Tampa Bay Rays play their games, and that roof, not all of it, but for the most part, was just completely ripped apart. It's fabric is what it is, and the fabric is all over the place down there on some of the super highways and things like that. They had to get it all. This is what Hurricane Milton did to it. Anyway, the fact of the matter remains that field is now wide open, and it's, the structure is still there. Now, what do they do? And the question is, what kind of expense do you want to go through? Because that stadium is coming down in the next 2 years, and a new one is being built maybe 100, 200 yards away from it in another area of that property. And that'll be a spanking new stadium, probably also domed. But the fact remains that this one, it'll have to serve as the Rays' home field for at least another year and a half, or 2 years. And what are they going to do? Well, the season will open March the 27th. That field will not be used until then, and that's the way. It wouldn't have been used anyway. The Rays will be away. They'll be in their spring training camp and so forth and so on. Is there time to put up a new fabric roof and take a chance on this happening again? That is a question for the smart guys to figure out.
Well, at least it's in Florida and not like Wisconsin or something like that.
No.
So if they have to play outside without a roof, I think they're going to be just fine. At least every other major league team feels that way when they're down there in the spring. Last but not least, don't look now, but the Jayhawks are number one in the pre-college basketball rankings. Your thoughts on that?
A lopsided number one. They were a consensus by all the media and the athletic directors and the sports information directors and like that. Jayhawks look like they are a very, very good basketball team, and I suspect they are. Bill Self saw this coming, and he's loaded up. He's got some really fine players, many of whom are returning. Kansas, the choice is number one. Alabama is second. Now get this, the two-time Defending champion Connecticut is number 3. There hasn't been a three-peat since UCLA pulled it off about 50, 55, 60 years ago. Connecticut is hoping for that. They are rated number 3. They're very, very good. Houston, Iowa State, Gonzaga, Duke, Baylor, North Carolina, Arizona. They are the top 10 teams and pretty good. Wait a minute, what about our local teams? Well, the only one who gets nationally ranked among the top 25 are the Razorbacks. Under John Calipari, the longtime former coach at Kentucky, he's come down to Fayetteville, and he's going to run the program down there. Never sell him short. He gets some awfully good players down there, and the Razorbacks will benefit from his appearance.
Definitely will, and it's going to be a great college basketball season. Just like today's going to be a great day, Ned. You have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.